Sandra will call to order at 10 after. The approval of the minutes for the September 1st meeting. Is there a motion and a second to approve the minutes for that September 1st meeting?
I'll make a
One
motion.
comment.
We're going to get it on the floor for discussion first. Is there a motion and a second to approve it?
I'll make a motion to.
Is there a second? Okay. Is there any errors or omissions or comments? Go, Sandy.
Talking about the 3 listening sessions,
Yep.
the date for the 3rd session is not given in the minutes? Is it that we had not decided on that at the last meeting?
It's September 28th at 7 o'clock.
Right, it's just not in the minutes.
Yeah, I did leave that out. I apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one at, I'm sorry, Sandy, which one was it?
It's the 3rd session at North
Gibson
Conway.
session.
The North Conway Gibson Center, yeah, that's the 28th.
Right,
7
it's
to
just
9.
not in our minutes,
Yes,
that's all.
okay, all right, that's a good point, we ought to add that in there. And the one in Molten Borough is at the library. Also, I had just a comment, and that is, on the very last page, the next to last paragraph, Rick Elmsmore, he's got 2 L's in his name, Susan, not 1. Are there any others, corrections? I'm not going to ask for a vote to approve the amendments, but as click. All those in favor of approving the minutes as amended, as changed, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, let's get on to the message that we worked on last time around. Mark McConkey emailed me that the $10,000 that the county has put forward on this, he said that $10,000 has to be seen as matching funds. It's not just that. He says in the excuse me. And he says, so I think we want to be sure that the message that we send out reflects the fact that is going to be tied in with other funding as well. It can't stand alone. So what I did do is I did make that change because to me that was a clarification. And Amanda had also brought up what I thought was an excellent point here in the very first paragraph, and which is at this point, and seems unlikely that our county government, the commissioners, and the delegation who have the responsibility of managing the farm want to continue to fund its present operation. She felt that was kind of out of step with the tone that we wanted to set for the press release itself. And
Negative.
yeah, and I thought that was an excellent comment. So what I did, which I think I forwarded to everybody, I changed it, changing that. So looking at are there anything else as people have read that they want to change? Any changes else they want to make?
Did you take out the comments by Mark Hounsell?
Those were never part of it.
Oh, I'm
That
sorry.
was a separate email. That was never part of this.
I'm sorry.
So, if there are no other changes,
Steve, excuse me?
I'm sorry, Susan, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we talked last time about the potential of removing the last sentence of the 3rd paragraph regarding the funding sources have their own cycle. It's very possible that it won't be till sometime next year that we'll know how successful we'll be.
Okay, we talked about taking that out as well? Okay, let me see.
Because if we could apply for alliance funding, that's a revolving, you can do that at any
Okay,
time.
so that, see, 3rd paragraph down, the last sentence, funding sources have their own cycle? Okay, all right. All right. Any other proposed changes here? Because this is our last shot at it. They've got to go out either tonight or tomorrow morning. And I've talked with the papers, and they're more than happy to put it in there. And I say, and you've talked with Melissa, and she's got no problem, she will put it in there?
The article, her article was in the paper this week.
Oh, it
Yes, it
was?
was.
But is she gonna be putting this in?
I think.
Okay, all right, fine, okay. Okay. Is there a motion then, that basically, that this is the message, this is the press release that we want to send out And be going out either tonight or tomorrow. So is there a motion, we're comfortable with this? Is there a motion, basically, yes, this is what we're gonna be sending out? There's a hesitancy.
Well, I'm asking.
Okay.
Because we were gonna talk about the radio message,
Yep,
the newspaper message, and a statement on Facebook that we could share out.
yep.
Is this going to be the same one for all three?
This is going out to all the papers. It's going out to
To
the
the
Conway
newspapers,
Daily Sun.
okay.
It's going out to the Carroll County Independent, the Granite State, and it's also going out to the Meredith News. So this press release, which we worked on last week, this is what is going to be going out based on the amendments that, and changes that we made here today and over the last week. So,
Well, I
Yes, Sandy,
think
go
that
ahead.
Amanda has a good question. Is this the same statement, essentially, that we're going to be putting on the Facebook page?
this is the message that we're sending out to the world as to, what we hope to, it's a brief history, and it also, I thought, kind of highlights within the mission statement that we've adopted, just what we're trying to do here.
It would make sense for consistency
Mhm.
to keep it the same.
Yeah.
But I would assume, and that's probably the bad thing to do.
Yep.
But the radio stuff is gonna be banter back and forth, right?
It'll be some, but again.
So you're gonna stick to that as an outline, a
Right,
guideline of what
and as
you're
we
gonna
had
say.
talked earlier,
Yeah.
what we had agreed upon, I think, is that when we were out there talking with people, and hopefully we will be talking with people, we're all gonna be basically kind of reading off the same page. And this is it. What we don't want is somebody going off on their own and saying, well, but what I really think is this, and say, wait a minute, this is, so this is the message. And this was going to appear in the papers, and as we talk with people throughout the county and so forth, our friends and neighbors, this is what basically we're going to be reading off of.
Good.
So we understand that?
Yes.
Okay, yes,
Now,
Amanda.
because when people have asked me about the listening session.
Yes,
I have said they're going to be maybe a 5-minute blurb from us.
Yes.
And the rest of the time, we want to listen to you.
We're there to listen.
That's why they're called listening sessions.
exactly.
And I think that when they say listening sessions, I think some people think it's going to be, we're telling them what to do
No,
or something.
no.
So, but
Again,
that
it's
does,
again,
that
it's
does
gonna be
right
this
there,
message.
it says,
It's gonna be this message.
that's very clear, yes,
This
that's
is
very clear,
this is
we
the
want to
opening.
listen
Yes.
to them. so.
Right, and you're right, we don't want to try to inflict any bias on people, that, this is for you, you talk to us, we are here to listen.
That's good.
Okay, we're all on the same page here? Yes, Sandy?
I move that we accept this statement,
The message, yep.
this message, as our press release.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, this is what's going out.
Now,
Yes.
on the Facebook, if we get that on Facebook, and then it's shared with each of us, and then we can share it with everybody on our
Yep,
list.
yep.
And they can share it with theirs, and it doesn't matter if it goes to Florida and comes back. It's getting the word out there.
Exactly, exactly.
So I'm not sure how to, because I don't have anybody else's Facebook page.
I don't have one.
You don't have
I
one.
do not.
I don't either.
Your business doesn't?
Nope.
My business does.
So.
Okay.
Well, we can do that after we can make a list of Facebook addresses, or whatever it is.
Well, you have 300 and something on your
Yeah.
farm Facebook page, right?
Yes. Correct.
And most of us are on it, or if we have a Facebook, we can get signed up to it.
Right.
Yeah. will you have a few minutes after this meeting, Ed, so that you and I can go over that Facebook stuff to be sure that I get it right?
And I would also like to set up either a time or do it now or later, the short 30-second commercial video that'll introduce them to that document if they wish to go
Okay,
further.
all right.
For Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah, can we do it after the meeting?
Oh,
later?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ray.
Did I answer your question?
I think so.
Okay. I'm jumping around on the schedule here a little bit, on the agenda, because I should have brought this up before. The fourth paragraph down, weather permitting, we hope to start off with the hayride. I got an email from Ken the other day, which I forwarded to the group, in which he had raised questions about the hayride, some of the logistical problems. Well, I got here a little early today, and I wanted to sit down and discuss that with Ken to see if this was gonna be a problem. And he said, no, it's not. I said, should I delete this from the message? He says, no. He says, we're good. He says, but we'll have to take a few steps. So, which is why I didn't bring it up at this point in time, because it really wasn't relevant, but I did want to talk to him about that to make sure that we were covered.
Right.
So we're all set.
And we have a backup too, if
Yes,
necessary.
that's what he had said. Yeah, okay.
And-
Yes, Sandy.
The county is all set with, they have a liability release form that people can use?
That was discussed. Ken did talk about that. We want to discuss that, whether they will have to sign a liability form or not, but he did bring, I don't have the, no, I think I did bring the email. Hold on.
I've got the email, copy of the email from Ken, because you forwarded
That was
that.
the only thing we needed to do,
Yeah,
was to get the release form signed.
That- Okay. As a committee, we need
Yes.
to do, or
Well,
as the commissioners?
No, as a committee that day when
Okay.
people come.
Yeah.
And they want to get on the wagon,
Yeah.
they just need
Yeah.
to.
He does mention signing waivers of liability, so that may be something that we want to discuss
Yeah.
further.
Well, I think it's a standard waiver, and people just
Yes,
sign it.
yeah. And of course, the thing is, as we say in the message, the press release, that's weather permitting. If it's raining cats and dogs, we're not gonna say, wait, we got a hayride here. Okay.
The great things that looking down south, it may be wet.
I know it. Okay, what I'm trying to, okay, let's continue with, as I said, I'm jumping around here a little bit. All right, item number 5 on the agenda, the press release is out by Friday or tomorrow. Glenn isn't here, but I did talk with Glenn via email, and he said that he has some connections with Meredith News, and that he would get that out to them. So I've talked with Damon Steer, the Conway Daily Sun, Melissa, so we're all set. Hi, Mark. So as far as the press release goes, we're all set. The radio, I've talked with the Conway radio station and the Wolfboro radio station, thanks to Lino. And I'm going down to the Wolfboro radio station on the 13th, and we're gonna be doing a taped recording. It won't go out that day, but we'll get that all out of the way. And on the 26th at 10 a.m., we're going to the Conway radio station. I guess the question they asked is, I'm assuming that I'll be the one to do this, but if anybody else would like to do it, that's fine with them. Is there anybody else that'd like to do the radio interviews?
Don't look at me. I get enough for those fuckers. I don't need more.
Is everybody comfortable with me doing it?
100%.
Yes,
Okay, all right.
you'd be a great spokesperson.
Oh, well, thank you. I hope I live up to that.
And you have your script.
I've got the script. I don't know how long they're gonna be, but they'll be running them intermittently. So anyway, so we're all set with that. We're all set with the radio, we're all set with the press release. The listening sessions, and Mandy, you said they're all confirmed. So I think as far as this particular thing goes, as far as getting that out there and listening to the voters and taxpayers of Carroll County, I think we're all set. The other thing is, I've got a couple of other things. This seems to be going too smoothly. What have we missed here? Have we missed anything at all? Sandy?
Based on the minutes from our last meeting.
Yeah?
For the first listening session, for the next Saturday,
Yep.
I have talked with Robert's Farm in Tamworth,
Yeah?
and it's not going to be a total donation, but I'll cover the cost of 3 gallons of freshly pressed apple cider.
Oh, you're a good woman, yep. Is this hard cider now?
No, it's sweet cider. And the reason it's not a total donation, it's a Emery Roberts, a young kid.
Yeah,
It's his cider business.
okay.
Oh.
Thank him very much.
I will.
Give me his name and phone number and address,
Well,
because I want to
he's-
send him a note.
They're already planning on giving us a card
Okay,
to put on the table that says,
Will they be here at that session?
no, because they're at the Tamworth Market, and the Tamworth Farmers Market does not finish until 1 o'clock. So then they have to break down and get here. So I don't think they will be here.
thank
Tell
you,
them
Sandy.
if they come,
Thank you very
you'll
much.
get them publicity.
I'll tell Jackie.
Anybody got any ideas or thoughts on the donuts?
Yeah, I talked to Ray.
Okay,
I just need to know how many dozen you wanted.
well, that's a good question.
I
You don't have a
thought
clue as to-
3, but I wasn't sure. That'll take care of me.
You know, I would ask for 4, and then if we have some left over,
Yeah.
then
You
we
can take them home.
Well, no, we could give them to the nursing.
Okay,
Perfect.
so
4 dozen?
Okay, all right.
They will be apple cider donuts.
And do you think 3 gallons of cider is going to be enough? I
I
figured
would
between
think so.
25 and 30 people.
Yeah, and that 3 gallons will do it?
I don't know, I mean, I could go up to 4.
Why, again, if he's willing to go 4, why don't we go 4?
Okay.
And then the surplus, we can also
Yeah.
give to the nursing.
Okay, so we're all set there. All right. Is there anything else that we've missed on this?
When are we going to serve the cider?
Paper cups.
Small ones.
I can, I'll bring those. I have, we're doing a triathlon this weekend, and we'll end up with hundreds of extra cups, so I'll just bring
Great.
Okay.
4 and 6 ounce cups.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
I think maybe 40 or 50 would be more than enough.
Oh, yeah, but we'll have containers of them, so that's no problem.
Okay.
And napkins for the donuts.
Yeah, another thing we're gonna be needing, this is for the listening
Carroll.
sessions. We really haven't discussed the format, how we wanna run this. Generally, somebody's up here with a big easel, you know, and you're writing down the ideas as they come. But we don't have an easel, we don't have anybody who's volunteered to do that. How are we gonna capture that kind of input and make that visible to people who are sitting there, and they're seeing their thoughts and ideas basically being
I was
recorded?
thinking we should.
There's an easel right there.
Yep, that covers this. Can we take that on the road with us when we go to Conway and to Moltenboro?
Well, I would think if we eventually replace the paper and it
We
would be
probably
okay.
could.
I mean,
Okay.
it's county property.
Madam Chairman, that's for you.
I'll have to
We
clear
just
That's
that.
what we call
just
passing
won't
the buck.
reimburse you, that's
As you say, Mark, it's lonely at the top.
I will clear that with the
Okay.
other 2 commissioners, but I don't think there'll be an objection.
I have a question. There's a format I have seen used sometimes. If you have a bunch of the little square sticky notes, and you give people access to those, they write their idea on that piece of paper, and then post it someplace. And other people with similar ideas can post theirs next to it. It starts to give you some idea about how
How popular the idea is.
popular something is.
Mhm.
And it also, without us having to stand up and write things down, it allows people to go around and maybe get some ideas to generate, like a brain starter.
Where do we get the sticky notes?
Anyway,
Do you know how many my mother collected before she passed away? I have stacks of them, of the
So we've got the sticky
Post-it
notes
notes.
then.
post-it notes, yeah,
Okay.
post-it notes, that's what I'm talking
All
about.
right.
but they're only like this big, right?
Some of them are, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that enough to,
Well, I've seen very similar, and working off that, we can write that, I'll write that. It just, you encapsulate the notes. And I've seen even easier in that, what do you think? Anybody else have another idea? If they do, you add it. If they don't, then you give everybody 3 sticky notes and tell them to go stick them up on the idea they
Mhm.
like.
And
And
sometimes,
it happens quicker.
sometimes they just have, ideas and people put little dots under,
Yeah.
beside an idea that they
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
They'll use
yeah.
colored dots to.
Yeah.
This is I really like, this is okay.
But you can go with the small sticky note, like you're saying, they can jot a note on it, and then you collect all those and you go through your sticky notes, and then you can expand on it if you want to.
Mhm.
It's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
It's just some nice ways to
Steve will
capture the
just
information.
power his way right through that. I'll help you, that's straight.
Well, Steve, you took that on you.
That's straightforward, that's easy.
A quick question, are we all planning on being at these listening sessions? Because are we all gonna be here? Okay.
Planning on it.
Okay, good, all right. And the other thing is, I hate to assume anything, but you want me to moderate these listening sessions? Okay.
Well, that's the other thing that I was saying. They should all have the same format, I think.
Mhm.
And if we gave a little read that kind of
Yeah,
introduction.
yeah,
And then said, okay, it's yours, it's your meeting.
yeah,
And so, moderating like a town
yeah.
hall, or
Yeah.
town meeting
Yeah.
moderator, that type of moderation, I think is.
But we've got to indicate to the audience just how we're going to be running this. If we're having sticky notes and so forth, we want to indicate that this is how we're going to be doing it.
Correct,
And somebody be coming around to collect the sticky notes. If how we're going to be putting them up there, with, we'll need some sort of structure as to how this is going to proceed. Okay, all right. That's the basic overview here. All right. Any other questions? What else have we missed?
Are we going to have one of the maps up? We're gonna put that on the wall somewhere for people to look at?
I don't know, the library said we couldn't put anything on the walls. If we wanted something, we had to bring something like an easel to
Mhm.
put it on.
Where's your first meeting at?
Here.
It's here. It's a week from tomorrow, Mark, Saturday the 16th.
That sounds like a wonderful time. I have it here. Do you have that drawing to use that day? If not, give me something in a small format. I'll print it to 24 by 36, and up here we can just simply use painting tape and hang them to the walls.
Well, we're
And then
gonna,
you take a look at it.
I reserved half of the nursing home dining area.
Okay.
Because
Right.
I didn't know, this room only holds like 25 people.
We had 40 or 50 here one time when we had a.
Oh,
a
really?
Oh, yeah, it was packed. We had
In
about
here?
45
Yeah,
to
we
50 people.
Move
Yes.
these tables and
It was
rows.
all chairs.
Oh,
We
well,
had a
then-
table up front.
then-
Yeah, I don't, if we get more than that, that's gonna be great. But we have sat a lot of people here.
Oh, well, then that's fine, then we
Yeah.
can certainly have it here, that's
Yeah.
just.
So if you have, I don't know, is this what you're using, what I'm looking at here?
Well, we can discuss that.
No, I have another one in mind.
Okay, if you give me something 8.5 by 11,
Okay.
I'll scan it in, then I can print it to size 24 by 36. And that's big enough to stand there and look at. Yep.
I don't know if it's it may be 24 by 36.
Well, if you're full size, then I can't help you. So we'll just, if you already have it that size, then we'll just use what you have.
Well, afterwards, if you just come look at it and see.
Okay. Anything else that we've missed? I think we're touching pretty much everything here. If between now and next Saturday, well, we're gonna be meeting Friday, the
Yes.
16th anyway. But just think, okay, as you mentally kind of go through this process, how it flows and so forth, if anybody can come up, think of anything that we've missed, then just send out an email here but we do want to speak to Ken about getting this set up, so that when we come in here Saturday, it's all ready to go.
In this room?
This room?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you want the tables removed?
The tables are gone, yep, and it's just chairs right up almost to the very front here.
Maybe put the tables right along the back wall, because that'd be a place to put the cider and donuts, or are we going to have cider and donuts on the hay right there?
I'd give them cider and donuts if they come in here.
Yeah, yeah. It's a reward.
Yeah.
Just for showing up.
Cider, oh, is it hard cider? Well, I don't know, you'll have to go find out.
Okay.
The,
Yes, Amanda.
the other thing, maybe Friday, when we come in,
Yep.
we might do like a run-through as to
How it's gonna work?
the flow of
yes.
people getting to
Yes.
the hang,
That's
whatever.
an excellent idea, Amanda. That's a good idea, yes.
Like a rehearsal.
Let's get through a dry run, see how it works. Because we know, that's why it's important to think that we're all here, that, you know, we can help people and so forth. But yeah, that's important. And the thing is, you know, if somebody's sitting in the middle of it, you know, they may not feel that, okay, now I've got to ask everybody to move. So one of us just can now say, why don't you hand me your sticky note and I'll put it up for you.
Well, I think we ought to leave an aisle in the middle.
Okay, we can do that too. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so they're not-
That's
yeah.
not gonna interfere with your camera, is it, if we leave an aisle in the middle of the rows?
Well, Ed, you remember, because you videoed that when we had this room packed. It was loaded.
I was right here.
Where
Yeah.
did they put the tables?
Yeah.
Along the back wall, because there was coffee and
I think they were on, I think some of them were here.
Yeah.
I thought they were.
Okay.
Or were they removed?
Well, those are logistics. You can work that out.
Okay.
Check.
Yep. So you want this room set up for 50 people?
Yeah, I think that's how many we had. It was in the high 40s, I think, that what we had here before.
Well, we'll set it up for 50, and
Yeah.
I got all week to work on that, right?
And if I remember, there were actually people standing out in the hall. We had both those doors open, the people standing out there as well. And we also had chairs along the walls here and the people sitting there. I mean, it was packed. We had a good crowd.
58 people, that's your limit.
58? Okay.
All right, so I'll set
Good.
up for 50.
And maybe 100 smaller people.
58 people. I would be very happy if we got 58 people.
One of the things that we have not discussed at all, and I put it on here, I want to bring it up. A while back, I had emailed everybody a copy of the Carroll County Farm Bureau membership. And in all this discussion, listening sessions and everything else, we've kind of left that group out of this altogether. And I'm just wondering, we have their names, we have the email addresses. Is there anything we want to do to reach out to them? And if so, what?
Olivia is our current Carroll County president, isn't she?
No.
I think if you were to send them an email blast that we're meeting and ask them to include it, then if they want to send it to their members. they
Okay,
can.
all right.
Then
I
it
can-
won't be intrusive that you use their listing.
I can talk to No View Farm. They're the secretary,
Will you take care of that then? Amanda, make sure that they're contacted?
and I'll make it that notice.
Yes, yeah, put that on there. What I'll do is,
Also, next Wednesday, I believe it is, there is a Carroll County Farm Bureau tour
At No View
No View
Farm.
Farm.
That's what I was going to.
okay.
And by
One other
then-
thing, as I said, we're jumping around. Points to ponder. And what I did is I just put together some ideas, and I'd asked everybody else to think about it as well, keeping it within the context of the message. And I called it points to ponder. If somebody approaches you in the street and says, okay, what's going on here? I just highlighted 4 or 5 things they thought we may want to convey to them to answer why we're doing all of this. And asking them if they're coming down, just to try to see the bigger picture, look at this. And as we've talked, think beyond a county run operation, but think about other aspects of it as well. And when we're looking at this and thinking about it, should the county be able to generate some revenue from this uses? In other words, is it expect the county's going to give this free? Is this gonna be a long-term lease or a short-term lease in which the county be generating revenue? What are we looking for the county to participate in this? I mean, there's just a lot of questions. What are the uses? Multi-uses. Don't just think of one use, but think of multi-uses. Those, and I said, look at the total acreage, not just that's been devoted to farming. So these are just a few thoughts that I had, and collectively, you may have a lot more thoughts that as we run into people and say, okay, what's the solve? What are we talking about? I mean, this falls within the mission statement. This is what we're looking at. And we've been meeting, this is our third meeting and so forth, and just what are our ideas and thoughts? What do we want those in the audience to be thinking about? Just give them a little heads up. Not just bring them in here cold and say, okay, talk to us. They say, okay, what do you want to talk about? I mean, this is giving them somebody, the message will hopefully do that as well. But as I say, in the course of a week, we run into people. And after reading the message, they may say, okay, what's this all about? What do you want from us? You say, well, this is what we want from you. We want you to be thinking about the optimal uses for this land that you own. What are you looking for the county to do in this? Do you want just the farmers in the private sector to do this? What are some of the uses you think? Don't just think one use. What are some of these uses? Let's get people to start to broaden their perspective on this and think in much broader terms. Those are just some of my thoughts. And I'm sure that collectively, each one of you have other thoughts and ideas. Keeping that within the mission statement that we've adopted. Thinking of that in some of the discussions that we've talked about. And so forth, and just kind of pass that on to people. We want people to come to these 3 meetings armed to the teeth, so to speak. You know, these are some ideas that I've got, and I want to be heard.
I have suggested
Yes, Amanda?
that they jot down some of their thoughts on paper and bring it.
Yeah, well, that's what they're going to do with the stickies.
No, bring it with them in writing.
Okay.
People forget.
That's great, do that too.
And the other
Yeah.
thing I've suggested is that they talk to their neighbors and they
Yeah.
bring their neighbors with them.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've told them that everything is open, permaculture, you know,
Yeah.
sustainability,
Yeah.
the whole thing. I have though said that sale of the property is not on the table.
Okay.
I think that, when I say that, I think I'm speaking for the commissioners and the delegation, that sale of the property is, and I guess, I hope this meeting, the people here, that we don't want to entertain that at these listening sessions. Did I speak out of turn?
No, I agree with that.
Not at all.
Okay.
One of the things I think that might be useful, either for folks at the listening sessions, but definitely for us, is what have other counties done with their property that they are no longer farming?
And I have not talked with Cheshire yet, but I will. I've had a busy week and that has not been on top of my list, but I will talk with them.
Well, it's not only that, what's Rockingham, Hillsborough, I mean, what are all of the other counties doing?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know either.
What I have found very interesting, because I've been trying to think outside the box or broaden my view, and I have, when I have time, just sat down with my phone and asked Siri, you know, what do municipal farms do? And I've gotten results from all over, including the Netherlands and different places as to some of the things. And they've been extremely eye-opening, I guess, at what some of the things that are being done. And I'm not sure, sometimes it gets a little off track from not just municipal farms, but into other things. And one of the things I was talking to Howie with, the nursing home in the Netherlands, I think there's a big trend for people that have dementia or Alzheimer's, and they put them in smaller groups of 15 or 20, and they put them in enclosed farming situations where we fence to keep animals out. They kind of fence, the same idea if you know, had a facility where people were allowed to go outdoors and walk around and had Alzheimer's, because some of them have what they call traveling syndrome. And they have them do small garden plots and things, which, you know, that was just one thing that kind of was totally, I wouldn't even would have thought of that. So I found the internet to be kind of helpful in that sense. And I've been trying to get outside of New Hampshire. You know, it's crazy because I have called places, counties in Maine and asked in reference to other things I was researching. And they go, we don't have a county farm, we never did. It's like, oh, all right, but they're all people that have only been there for 15 or 20 years.
And they probably did have at one time.
I don't know, but that's the research I've been doing off and on, because I was looking also about some leasing things way back at the beginning of the year of this. But so the internet seems to, for at least me, gave me a lot of different types of ideas. Some of them, of course, well, I don't know, one of them was they used their forests to train forest fire fighters. That was out in, they're on the west coast, maybe Washington State, I think. So, you know, so I mean, that's just some unusual things.
Well, you know, it's interesting, and I know Glenn chaired a subcommittee of the delegation looking at some of it as an educational tool here. And you know, and again, there may be multi-uses here. There could be a lot of uses of the property that may not even be directly farm connected, but firefighting training and so forth and so on. And again, you know, I think what we want to emphasize when we're talking with people is the multi-use of the property. There's 800 acres of land here, and we should not just limit our thinking just one use. But I mean, I have to tell you in all honesty, the idea of using this land to train firefighters is something that I never would have thought of at all.
No.
But it, you know, what does it cost? Is it going to cost the county anything to make them to do it? Not a penny, and yet it provides a valuable service. So you know, I'm hoping that we're going to be very pleasantly surprised as we have these 3 listening sessions, at some of the ideas and things that people come up with. You know, I'm going to state right now, I'm sure they'll come up with things that I never would have thought of, you know, ever. And that being one of them. I mean, it's a resource, and I think that's the point we want to keep stressing to the residents of the county. This is an incredible resource. How do we utilize that? I'm done. Does anybody else, I said I'd try to get you out of here by 4, we're getting close. Does anybody have anything else? Yes, Comeau.
When you bring people together for a listening session,
Yeah.
I think you need to more clearly define, is it a brainstorming session where people just express lists of ideas of what can be done with property, or are you going to clearly define it as in the land can't be sold? So then no one will have it in their mind that we could sell it. So they'll not say that. And then you would have maybe, must have a limited amount of tax impact. It should have no tax impact. I think you might want to come up with a bunch of bullet points of things that they should not let their mind stray into. Now, I'm saying you don't have to do that. I'm just saying you might want to do that, because people are going to say, oh, well, we could put a ski resort here. We could put, you know, adult housing. We could do anything. So, and you're just going to get a huge list of a million different things you can do with 900 acres. So you might want to pare that down a little bit just so you can be and have a productive. I don't know if you want to make the first one a brainstorm and then break it down later. I don't know how you want to do it, but if you just let them just talk, they're just gonna come up with lists, and you're gonna have to do something with that
You know,
list.
and that brings up a good question, one that I've thought about as well, but it was in my recess, but I think you bring it up, I'm glad you did. How do we want to leave this listening session? So somebody sits there and for 2 hours, we hear and are making up another 60 good ideas. So they leave here thinking, okay, where's my idea going? You know, what happens to this idea? Is this more than a listening session, but a brain session? Do we pick 5 or 6 of these things and discuss them, try to flesh them out a little bit? I mean, what do we do? What is that next step?
I believe the first couple of meetings, I think we discussed that, it was gonna be open to any idea.
Yep.
Then us as a group would get together and sort of narrow it down to the most
Sort 'em out.
feasible ideas. And then go from there as far as getting the RFP for the study done. Yes, no?
You know what we might do?
Yeah.
When we're all, like the last 15 minutes or
Yeah.
something, just give everybody a sheet of paper and say, would you, what we've discussed today, would you list them in the order of your preference, 1, 2, and 3? And on your way out, put them in the
That's a great idea.
bucket. And that way, not only have they been talking about a lot of different things,
But they're also here.
which is also going to be on film, but then they're being realistic and saying, okay. And then we can look at that, not that we'll take, I mean, if, 50 of them think the best idea is the swimming hole out back or something. But we can kind of use that as a realistic guide, I think.
One of the things that was discussed early on, about the ease of go up there and with the stick-em notes, and I'm just making up numbers just to try to raise the question. And say we come up with 10 good ideas from the listening, from the audience. And we go up there, and then they go with their sticky note, and they put a thing next to the one that they like the most. And say that we end up, of the 10 ideas, 3 of them have no support at all. The 3 of them have a lot of ideas and so forth. Should we then throw that back to the audience and say, okay, listening to you, these are the ones that seem to have the most support. Let's flesh that out a little bit. Let's expand upon those a little bit. Are we getting in over our heads on this? Or basically, again, are we listening to get a greater consensus here from this audience as to the direction of Mark?
I think you would look for their ideas and record their ideas and see what it is, and you move on to your next meeting and you record
Okay,
their ideas.
okay.
and see- move
Don't
to your
open it up
third-
too much?
Move to your third meeting.
Okay.
Gather, see what your consensus is. Most meetings I've ever been to, if you throw 100 people in the room, 2 or 3 ideas are gonna continually come out.
Okay, okay.
So let them do their,
Okay.
come there and how were your ideas, we're gonna listen to everybody else. And once we listen to everyone else, we'll put together a simple report that says this is what people, maybe we're gonna find that there's some consensus in a few of these things.
Yep.
Maybe we're gonna find we're way out here. But then maybe we inform them where we are, and then maybe we ask for another session to talk about it. Or we use that as the basis then for the RFP to be, if we're gonna
Okay.
bring in outside people, let the outside people do their work. You're just here to listen to it.
Right, and not only that, if we're discussing those meetings and trying to come to some sort of a conclusion to give for the RFP, it's going to be open and people can come to those open meetings and listen to our discussion and maybe we can have a public input at the end or something, to help.
And, okay, so we get all these results from our 3 listening sessions, with all these ideas, either on sticky notes or index cards or whatever. Are we going to take those individual results and provide, we might flush them out or narrow it down for when we do the RFP, but then are we going to give all of the data to whomever is selected to do the feasibility study?
Yeah. That's your thought of chain of command, and ideas keep being passed forward. I think it's a
Right.
great idea.
And so we should let the public know that.
That we're using their
Yeah.
ideas to write the
And that-
RFP.
Well, not only that, but that their information is going to whomever is doing the feasibility study. It doesn't stop with us, it's going on.
Right.
But isn't that making our RFP
Too broad.
too broad?
I don't know, that's what I'm,
Well, no,
We
because
run, we
we're,
run that risk. We
or
run that
too
risk.
narrow.
well, what we can
Yeah.
probably end up with is, if we come up with 5 ideas that seem to be the general consensus, we can put that in the RFP. And then when the person, whoever we get to do the feasibility study, we can say, by the way, these were the 5 strongest and we think should probably be fleshed out. But for your information, these are the other 25 ideas. And because they, as an expert knowing what they're doing, they may look at, out of these 25, they may say, well, actually these 15 we can work into this type of thing. So I think giving them the information is fine. I'm not sure we should use that in the RFP, because I think like Dale said, it would get too broad.
But you don't know that right now.
Well, that's
You
it, we don't know.
So collect everything, look at it, that's what, an analytical mind, and we'll look at it, and we'll make, but we always keep the record back there, so it's in the back. These are all the ideas. We were in Ossipee, and 20 ideas came up, and this was it. And the woman that suggests we use sticky notes, she can transfer all those onto a Word document.
Right, or we'll put it on index cards instead.
No, Mark, don't discourage people for putting things on the table.
I did write index cards, that's easier.
Yeah.
I'm saying sticky
But I'm
notes
just saying,
stick
it's
to the
just,
wall.
I like the idea that the idea's there, I just,
Mm.
Yeah.
it's a time capsule of when we were together, so.
Well, and I think people will feel validated. If
Mhm.
they know we're not gonna take their whole thing and, well, this is the one we agree with, so we'll throw the rest of them away. That they know it's here and it's open for everybody to look at.
Well,
My point,
Yeah, go ahead,
or
Sam.
my concern is that as a result of the listening sessions, we may come up with 4 or 5 of the quote most popular ideas, but they may not be sustainable. They might not just be practical, but that's the ideas that people had. That's why I want to make sure that everything goes to the feasibility study group.
Well, I think that's what the feasibility study is for, isn't it? To
Yeah,
see if it is
yeah.
Yeah.
practical and sustainable.
And sustainable, yeah.
But what we want to keep in mind, and I'm not saying this to discourage any of the thinking that we've got here, but the broader we make that feasibility study, the more expensive it's going to be.
Understood.
It's going to take more time for whoever does this to track down and follow every lead or every suggestion that we've been getting from the listening sessions, and time is money. And so I'm not saying therefore don't do it, but I think we've got to go to this clearly with the understanding is that if we give them 30 or 40 different ideas, the ante keeps going up.
Well, and we gotta remember too, some of these things can be done simultaneously. And you can have, somebody wants to put in a solar garden, somebody wants to have winter cross-country skiing, somebody wants to have summer horseback riding, somebody wants to have community, those are all things that can all occur at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, there's another thing too. The idea that you just said in talking to somebody that they're doing out in the state of Washington on their giving firefighting training. I wonder if we need to do a study on that, or if we could just go to the local fire department or the national forest or state foresters and say, this is one of the things we're thinking about. We'll be involved in this. Well, is there a cost? What would it cost? What would be involved in doing that? I mean, do we need to be paying somebody $40 an hour to figure that out? And is this something we could do on our own? And I'm wondering if there may be other ideas that people would have that we could say, you know what? We can figure that out. We don't need to spend somebody for 10 hours of work to come up with the answer that we know. Or silence.
I agree with that.
I think you just need to hold the meetings, listen to what's said.
Yeah.
You may find 5, you may find 1, you may
Yeah.
find that it makes no sense.
Yep.
So
Yep.
just listen to what they have to say.
Yep.
Keep the record.
Yep.
We'll decipher, we've been charged to
Yep.
decipher, we'll
Yep.
decipher. And you
And we'll
move
do
forward.
that second step that you were talking about at the listening sessions, where we bring everything in from the listening sessions, and we take them and we put them in like categories,
Yep.
and step back and look at how popular each one
Yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah.
I do like Ed's suggestion that we let people know what basic criteria are.
Mhm.
You know, not contemplating sale of the land, you know, little to no impact on,
Taxes.
financial impact on
Yep.
taxpayers.
Yep.
You know, that kind of thing. And I think having that on paper in front of people is a great idea. So we put our mission statement up there, and then we put some criteria.
Mhm.
Okay, so I think we probably ought to get that criteria together today, so.
Well, the criteria comes right from your mission statement.
Yeah.
You know, there, we talked about before, there might be some costs involved, but it should have offsetting income for
Yeah.
the costs, so.
Exactly.
If you need fire ponds that are gonna feed livestock and be a water source for irrigation things, then maybe something else is helping pay for that.
That's right.
So it doesn't mean that it has to be absolutely, but there has to be something that helps pay that spot.
Yep.
So,
It should be sustainable.
should
Yeah.
be sustainable.
Sustainable is the key word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and it may not be sustainable the first year or two, but it should be within a reasonable amount of time.
Well, we'll put that criteria on, let
Yeah.
just go.
Because reasonable
Because
to
people are
me
gonna
and you are
start
two different
thinking
things.
anything to do with government, they're gonna think, well, if we pay money for 10 years, it'll take care of itself. It's not going to, there's gotta be a plan right from day one to
Yeah,
get you.
yeah.
If you need ponds, then maybe UNH, maybe other people, farmers groups, maybe other people come in and help you do that. Maybe contractors come in and do the bulldozing. That's more in line with what I'm thinking, than the county writing a check to an excavator and he comes in and does a big project for you. People have tie to what they're doing.
But the question then becomes, is the county gonna allow excavator X to come on county land and be like, yeah, we'll let you dig that fire pond?
Why wouldn't they?
Well, that's
It's,
still a-
it's part of a plan and people have to be, indemnified and all that sort of thing. But yes, that can happen.
And it could be a long-range plan, it's not something,
Oh, of
you know,
course.
it might not all happen in the first
If
year.
you have person X coming in here that wants to do something, they're gonna have to have something, a business plan or some sort of plan to show to everybody to be, this is my plan, what do you think? And that's a yay or nay, whether you get the use of the property or not, with any
Well,
venture, I
and
would say.
I think there's a check and balance for that, because the commissioners have to okay it.
Right.
And then the delegation has to say, yes, it's
Right.
okay, because this is not our land.
Right.
This belongs to the people in the county, so I think that's, that setup, I think, of checks and
Is there
balances.
anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Aye.
All those in
Yes.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. And I'll see you here next Friday as we just wrap this thing all up and get ready to listen.
And
Oh, I got one other thing. On this press release, should I sign this on behalf of the committee, or is it just going out there? Should I sign on behalf of the committee? Okay.
You're the chairman,
Mhm.
and we gave you permission.
Right.
I always feel so responsible when they do that to me.
Man, do you have those things?
Yeah.